what we're about, and they would like to come to the others, this will be available online after the workshop. All right, so with us today, we have myself, right? Hannah King, Education Specialist with New England Science and Sailing. We have Nina, can you give a wave? Director of Programs. Nina and I help facilitate different parts of the B-WET grant that we have here at New England Science and Sailing. We also have Meg Strand, our Managing Director of Curriculum and Instruction. And Lisa and Gary will be in and out at opportunities that they're free for. Since there's so many, they meet with me monthly. But Lisa's here with us now, and you might see Gary in the future. They'll both be with us at the in-person if you have signed up for that. And so our session objectives today, after we share a little bit about B-WET, a little bit about NESS, we're going to dive into what we do with experiential learning and how that helps promote social emotional growth and skills there. And so when we do this, we're actually going to ask you to get hands-on, virtually, of course. And so we're going to talk, engage, collaborate, communicate, maybe find some new innovative designs together as a team. So after the speaking is a lot more doing. So bear with us as we just share a little bit about what we are all about. So I have a quick video to share with you. And as a reminder, I'm not sure if everyone is as tech savvy as me. Please bear with me as I practice all of these skills together. Okay. Do you have audio?
That's a negative.
All right, I'm glad I checked. My screen also, Meg, now that I'm in co-host, it disappears. So just give me a moment as I navigate. Good luck? Okay. Well, instead of battling my audio right now, we can always show it at the end, but let's dive into a little bit more about NESS.
Are you going to share the...
Meg is going to take over our introduction since she has been here the longest of us all.
Now you're making me sound old. I'm not sure I like that. So thank you for the introduction, Hannah. My name is Megan Strand. I am the Managing Director of Curriculum and Instruction here at NESS. And I'm really excited to be with you guys. I'm going to give you a general overview of who NESS is. That video would have stole my thunder a little bit anyway. So I really hope we get to see it, but at the end. So NESS is at its core an experiential education organization that aims to transform students' lives. We hope to do that through ocean-based experiential programs. We have 4 core values, and those core values are inclusiveness, personal growth, experiential learning, and stewardship. And these core values, we come back to them every single time we look to do something new. We want to tie all our programs into these 4 core values because this is why people come to work at NESS. This is why I'm here at NESS and why I have been here as long as I have been. We develop curriculum and lesson plans that are surrounded, that basically the core values are the driving force of these curriculum and lesson plans. And all of those lesson plans are tied into the next generation science standards and the CASEL SEL competencies, and they're all derived from the ocean literacy principles. Our lesson plans and curriculum are, I'll be honest, are pretty good. And good enough that the New England Association of Schools and Colleges has accredited us as a non-school program. Now, if you're not from New England, this is the accreditation board that accredits small schools like Harvard. So, we're super proud of that. And so we like to toot our own horn on that. You can go ahead to the next slide, Hannah.
Sorry, Meg, I lost audio there for almost 60 seconds. So
oh, no.
Bearing with me.
It's okay.
There you go.
So you know, we have these lessons, they're all tied into NGSS and CASEL, like I said, but how do we teach these lessons? And so all our experiences come from our learning platforms. So we use marine science and sailing as these learning platforms to provide these experiences. So, you know, we're going to teach aquaponics, and we're going to do that by going to a, you know, seaweed farm here in Long Island Sound. Or we're going to, you know, teach physics through kayaking. And it's through these experiences that students learn those SEL skills that are really important to their lives. Next. So does it work? And the answer is, so far, we think so. So we do surveys of all of our students surrounding SEL skills. These surveys have been developed by the ACER, which is the Australian Council of Educational Research. What you're seeing here is research that was done by another group that was in 2018, 2019. We do have newer research, but in general, what it's shown us is that our programs do increase SEL skills. And the reason we want to increase these SEL skills is that in the end, we want to give students agency. And that agency is over their education, but also of their lives. So as they get older, they have these skills to be able to take over and really create a great life for themselves. That being said, we're going to run you through an experience that's virtual that Hannah and Nina are going to help guide you through.
Yes, thank you so much, Meg. Nina actually has all the answers as I've been challenged with the audio today. So I'm gonna actually pass it to her just to share that video because it's really empowering to see the kids so excited about coming here or us going to them.
And it's an excellent tie-in to what I just said.
Yeah. It's like we planned it. Let's see if it works though. Let's not get too excited.
Yeah, cross your fingers.
This is what I call fun.
This is New England Science and Sailing. Simply stated, NESS transforms students, preparing them to take charge of their futures. My name is Eric Isselhart. I'm the NESS CEO, and I want to share with you some of the amazing work that NESS does with students every single day. We share the ocean with our community, but many students aren't able to access it. NESS changes that and uses powerful programs to build equity and achievement with underserved learners. NESS empowers students no matter their abilities or financial needs. NESS improves both academic outcomes and life skills. As the only non-school to earn accreditation from the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, NESS reaches as many as 9,000 students annually. Our experiential and standards-based curriculum uses marine science, sailing, powerboating, and adventure sports on the water and in classrooms as learning platforms, opening opportunities for all students. I'm thinking of Natalie, for example, who says NESS is the difference that changed her academics from all Fs to all As. Or Sydney, whose time at NESS led to an interest in marine science and her earning undergraduate and graduate science degrees. One student at a time, NESS is transformational for Natalie, Sydney, and thousands of other students through a joy of learning and the deliberate creation of student agency, taking responsibility for their own education and lives.
Since I love all the science stuff, when I grow up, I want to be a scientist myself.
We did it.
Thank you. Awesome. So that's NESS, right? New England Science and Sailing. But there's also a whole nother side that we're bringing to you in partnership with NOAA and B-WET. And so we'll dive a little bit more into that in upcoming workshops too. But as a super quick overview, B-WET stands for the Bay Watershed Education Training Program that NOAA has been able to help provide grants to other nonprofit organizations and some schools to be able to create training programs for teachers and students. And so Nina actually helps facilitate a lot of the in-school programming that we're able to bring to teachers like Lisa in a Hartford Healthcare clinical day treatment school system. And so their whole objective is to make sure that this watershed education training, where we're just empowering students with the love of learning, we're doing the NESS way, with a watershed perspective, can be brought to them throughout the year. So we have been to, on a regular basis, 3 schools, but we've reached 5 this year, Nina? Yeah, and there's a lot of good work that's happening there. We also are able to bring them out into local field sites or to NESS. The other part of the grant is exactly what you're doing here. It's professional development. And so we've created a teacher cohort that's researching the best practices they use to bring experiential learning, alternative school learning classroom settings, because there's so many different looks and types and audiences, and the B-WET framework that NOAA implements all together to then share it with others. So part of the feedback in the past has been people have been really excited to connect with other educators, especially in the environmental education realm. And so that is what we are doing here and will continue to do to make sure that you can have that as an outlet. And so that said, that's all the boring stuff. The fun stuff is to come. I will share, you've been given links in the past, but I'll reshare it in upcoming reminders, and feel free to explore our website. It's full of free resources from the past 2 years. We're wrapping up our 3rd year of this grant. And so there's lesson plans, video trainings, blog posts, there's recordings of other trainings that we've done. There's a lot to be able to dive into on there. So part of last year, we released a lesson plan for marine debris and microplastics. And Lisa and Gary took off with this one. This is a very robust lesson plan. There are a lot of activities you can do with your kids. Bringing it to you on an element for virtual learning is a little bit of a challenge, but we're ready to take it on with some eager participation. And so I wanted to just share briefly with you our objectives. This is something we would do with the kids at the beginning of every class, minus the next generation science standards. Okay. And so we would identify today, you're going to collaborate with your peers and define marine debris. You're also going to visualize decomposition rates as teams of various marine debris, and you will develop and design a blueprint to help mitigate, that's to remove, how marine debris is happening in the world. When we are looking at this as educators, right, where we use the ocean literacy principles, this is probably where my audio popped out for Meg, but that's one of the standards we use to align. And it's super supportive, where we're trying to make sure that we are actually encouraging ocean like improving how we do our watershed education training. We're able to align it to this to help, as well as next generation science standards, things we're all comfortable with at this point. But stop sharing. Are you ready to get to talk to one another? All right, this is where Nina and I shine. Nina loves marine debris, down to the point where I think she's secretly made some of the marine debris art crafts around NESS. She tells me she hasn't, but I'm pretty sure that's her. So Meg, are you okay sharing the whiteboard? Thank you. And so because there's not too many of us, if you just speak up, you're more than welcome to try to talk to one another. But when in a moment, you'll gain access to collaborate on a whiteboard. And our first instruction, you'll see that there are 2 colors, blue for marine and green for debris. If you click over, yeah. Uh-oh, we should all be able to have a typing option.
I think you just have to go on the left. There's, at least for me, there's a toolbar and I can click text.
Yep.
So
it'll be,
You are attendees, see that too.
they should be able to. Can we get confirmation from some of one of our attendings that they can, there's a toolbar on the left and you should see a capital T, and that should allow you to type text.
I don't think I see it, but we were writing on it earlier. Meg, do you mind double checking that you're in the collaborative?
I am definitely in that. I'll double check though.
Okay, thank you.
I can't seem to find that text toolbar.
Interesting.
I can't find it either, and it said on my whiteboard that only people from the same organization can use the whiteboard, so I don't really.
Oh,
Oh, interesting. Well, I
Yeah,
can
I got that notice as well, actually.
I can type it, if we keep the discussion going and use the
Sure.
chat. I'm happy to fill out the whiteboard for us.
That would be helpful, Nina. Why
Yeah.
don't we all unmute and we can do it that way?
So can you go ahead and reshare, Meg?
yep.
Sorry for the fun
Yes,
time.
meeting participants are granted edit permission.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Said nope. Oh, toolbar to the left of this.
Interesting.
All right.
The notice is still up for me that says the owner of the whiteboard only allows sharing with the users within the same organization.
Interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, it's
You know what
because
we
it,
can do? Nina, why don't just live time? I can move this to Jamboard.
I can whatever you prefer. I don't mind typing it in, or if that's easy to do.
All right. Okay, so with the word marine, and you guys can totally shout out because Nina's got supersonic hearing, I promise. What terms come to mind? Imagine you're in like fourth, let's say 5th to 6th grade, 4th, 5th, and 6th. What would come to mind with just the word marine? I can get us started. I think I'm gonna say water.
I feel like my kids would say fish or whales or something to do with animals.
Nice.
Mermaid.
I'm gonna add seaweed. Oops, Sarah, with the ocean.
I always get something about like a sub base or the Navy.
Mhm.
Being down in Stonington, we have Groton nearby. Okay.
Sea turtles, boats.
How do we feel about debris? Are you guys ready? I guess I should ask. Nina, are you ready?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, so debris. What do you think a student would say?
Ooh,
Trash everywhere, small garbage. Nice. Thanks, Angelina. Say scattering. I get kids that are like Legos that scatter. I'm like, okay, that counts. We have garbage. Nice, dirty. What about types of debris? Yeah. Plastic. Okay. Sweet. And so what we do after this, oh, you have another styrofoam. Nice, Angelina. After we are able to get everyone in the group to participate, usually I ask each student to share one thing. There's literally no such thing as a wrong answer if my question is phrased as, what does this make you think of, right? Just because it might be not too related doesn't mean that that's not correct. And so then this puts Nina and my creativity to the test, where we then take different terms from either side and we help create a definition as a group. And so I'd be like, it could be plastic out there in the world that is in the ocean, which is affecting the sea turtles. It could be a scattering. Nina, you're doing great. A scattering of trash out there in the world that could impede impede us from finding out about mermaids or animals that live out there in the ecosystems. So I'm trying to connect their responses to help validate and like provide that confidence in order for them to want to continue to share answers, because this is the beginning of us collaborating, right? This is our first step. This is our introduction. It also helps me assess where they're at and how comfortable they are with the topic. A lot of the time, because this is sustainability and stewardship of our marine environments is such a popular topic, they're on it. They are ready to go. They're like, that is plastic with a sea turtle and a straw, and like, we need to stop that. I'm like, great. So a lot of this is also me not only assessing content, but feelings towards how they want to approach this. Are they motivated and empowered, or are they sad? What kind of spin do I need to put on this to make sure that they're engaged and feel that sense of agency and like a mighty doing, that they are ready to rock and roll and not defeated? Because sometimes I do get students that are like that, and it helps me understand how I want to adjust my lesson for them. And so after we do this concept map, we would do this big brainstorm, I would ask for a definition from the group. So that I'm going to ask you to type in the chat a quick phrase of how you would define marine debris, because these are great examples. But how would we break that down for someone maybe younger than us, right? I give them a perspective of how would you say that to your younger friend or younger sibling? And I'll wait just like 30 seconds. Nice, trash in the water. Thanks, Julia. Stuff in the ocean that hurts animals. Lots of trash pollution in and around coastal areas. So pollution's a new word. Thanks, Angelina. Garbage in the ocean. Sweet. And so with this definition, right, I try to draw the major connection here is human man-made things in the natural world, right? And so some, when taken care of improperly, impact our ecosystems. And that's what we're going to investigate with all the lessons in that B-WET lesson plan. All right. Anything you wanted to add, Nina? Or Meg?
No, yeah, I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head, especially, just talking about the human-made items. Like it could be anything, right? Like really any word could go in the debris section. And so it's like Hannah said, this is fun for the kids, and there's a lot of different ways that you could facilitate something like this, and you could do it with a ton of different terms, not just marine debris. But it gets the students not only feeling like, okay, yeah, I know like this is not a wrong answer, so it gives them the confidence, but especially if it's your first time with a certain group of students, it's a really easy way to get them to start engaging really quickly. Because I'm like, just shout them out, and I'll like keep writing really quickly, and they get really jazzed, and seahorses, mermaids, blah, 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 and they get really excited about it. So it's also kind of an icebreaker in that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great way to put it, Nina. An icebreaker. Okay. I'm like prepping Jamboard for what's upcoming, because I think, oh no, we can still do it. We can still do it. Are you ready to move on? All right, next slide, please, and thank you.
On the whiteboard.
Yeah. Was that you or Meg sharing?
That was Meg.
Okay.
We so many different things.
So next slide on the whiteboard, on the Jamboard, or the whiteboard.
So if you go down to the bottom right, you
I
can.
got it.
Okay.
You all may be able to collaborate now. I changed the setting, but may not be able to.
It still told me that it was only for users in your organization.
Okay, great. I might have, well, it'll have to take effect when we're done.
That's
We can
okay.
still only see page 1, Meg. Did you switch it to page 2 on your end?
I did. I'm on engineering challenge.
Oh, so I think maybe if everyone goes down to the bottom right, you
Okay.
click on that, and then you can click on page 2. Let's see if that works. And I will know when I see other people's mice on the screen.
Try that.
Haha. People are coming. Nice. Sweet.
And try writing now. I think I've given you all access now.
Someone wrote hi.
That was me.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
That's okay. We'll roll with the punches here. We've got a really good what are you? A scribe. No, I don't like that word. Nina's doing a great job. Okay, so for this engineering challenge, in the lesson plan, it's written after students investigate buoyancy. So they actually take a bunch of debris they collect during lunch, during snack, that they want to bring in from home, and they understand its ability to float, sink, or sit in the middle. And so this will provide a greater context to when you need to remove these items, how will you have to think about where they sit and how they move. I'm following Megan Strand. I think that's okay. Oops.
Sorry, it
That's okay.
lost its brain.
And so in just a moment, when we're back to it, we're going to ask you to find how many, we'll do one object around your space and list it in the chat. Nina's going to write it down, and we have a special challenge for you in just a moment. So for me, my special item, I have a palm tree in the corner. So let me write that down. It can be man-made, it can be natural, it can be whatever you want. And we can do 2 groups with this many people. So you can divide the responses evenly however you want. Yeah, apple, palm tree, soda can. Anything else out there? Darth Vader cup, is that you, Nina? Is that your object? Nice.
I'm sorry, Hannah, I think I missed the question.
Hey, there's not much context here besides pretend you're a student. You just figured out the places that your trash floats, and now we need to build something, period. End of thought. What is an object in your room? Just any fun object that you want to provide with just that one little bit of context. And when you have it, you can write it in the chat. Bubble wrap? Ooh. A bracelet. A lava lamp. This can be tough. Scotch tape. Nice, Lisa. Lisa came prepared. Okay. And so they should already be ready to go. But in the group that Nina sorted your items, so if you said apple and you're in group A, you'll go to room 1. And if you said lava lamp and you're in group B, you'll go to room 2. And we are going to answer these 4 questions in green using all of those materials and more, but you must use those in some form to try to create a device to help mitigate or remove marine debris from the environment. And so I'm going now to room A, and Nina will help facilitate room B. If you go down to the bottom of your screen and you click, for some of you, if your screens are collapsed, you can click the 3 dots for more. You'll see the breakout room option, and you can jump right in. All right, and this is where I say goodbye. I will see you in room 1 if you have your words written there. If you haven't said anything yet, that's your incentive to put something in the chat so you know which room you can go to. And Meg can help take over in the big room if you need support. Hey Meg, if you are in here, do you mind sharing the whiteboard for when we all come back together? Thank you.
Will do. I'm gonna be closing the rooms in 2 minutes.
Okay. We're just double checking we have answers to all our questions.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I changed the setting globally, but until we log out of this meeting and re-log on to a different meeting, the whiteboard won't work.
It happens. That's okay. We're rocking and rolling.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna broadcast right now. Broadcast. No, not mine.
I think we had everyone return to
Okay.
the main session, from what I can see.
Yep, we're how did that go? Was that hard? What Oop,
Me or who are you asking me
your
or?
group? Yeah, I was with my group. I know how
Yeah.
we went.
No, I mean, we had some good discussion. We had a lot of good ideas floating around and talked about, ways to kind of build on, I was saying like, I never want a student to feel like they're done, like, boop, we did it, all done. Like there's always something that can be added that the students can be further thinking about, which I think is so important, especially working with alternative learning environments, because students are at such different places and learn at different levels and paces that, it's not like all right, I'm turning this in and boop, we did it. You're kind of meeting the students where they're at and whatever team they're working with or whatever, kind of project that they're doing. Just kind of more facilitating the growth mindset versus all right, I did it and I'm done and, we can go home now. Which, Hannah and I were at Gary's school a few weeks ago, and that was kind of like they were getting to that point, like, yeah, I don't really wanna, like, yeah, it works, and then we were like, but you could like make it go way faster. Like, you can definitely make it go faster. And they're like, okay, yeah, I can make it go faster, and then they're like getting into it again. So just that encouragement as the educator. So that was part of what we talked about. We had some good ideas about bracelets and bubble wrap and all kinds of things.
I love that. And I love tricking them into them saying that they want to keep going. Because I'm like, what do you really love about your design? And they're like, oh, X, Y, and Z. Okay, what do you want to change? Oh, this one small thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, now you have plenty of time, right? You don't have to restart. Meg, it's okay if the whiteboard doesn't work. We can do our pitch without it.
It's coming up.
Nice. Okay, let's see if I can remember all of our questions. Okay, how does it work? Group A, we had an apple, a palm tree, a soda can, and scotch tape. And this was challenging because we have two natural items in all of these. And so together, and we actually had some really creative thoughts where someone said we can weave the palm tree fronds together so you can strain the material out. Another person said we will use the scotch tape to adhere to anything that might try to come by. And then another person said we can use the apple and the soda can because they're buoyant and so they will float and they can help keep this strainer up in the water column to get any floating materials. Someone made a really good point that we shouldn't put it at the end of a roaring river because any logs or big branches that are natural might be much bigger than it and sweep it away. And yeah, I think that answers all of them. And so to be a salesman, I would say this could go at the end of your dock. You got kids trying to accidentally eat their sandwich baggie in your dinghy. You finish lunch, it's a windy day because you're sailing, and you need to stow your baggie and it slips out and it goes into the harbor. Well, guess what? At the end of your dock, you can have this Palm frond scotch tape item to adhere to that plastic baggie. Tape, plastic, stuck. Don't even worry about it. It's not too much of water movement to destroy it. Ready to go. Easy to pull up because it's buoyant for you to clear out. So during all that, we also discovered that when I was trying to facilitate a discussion on roles and what people naturally try to like lean towards when we're talking about this in the real world. And so when Nina and I teach this, the students are actually like identifying their objects, blueprinting, then developing, then testing, then assessing and analyzing and retesting. And so everyone gets to practice this like different roles in different places. It's not usually one student doing one thing. And so we really try to work on not only are you collaborating, but you're building on one another. And it's super important that you're actually encouraging that previous step, because not only is it yourself and you want to speak kind to yourself, but in the real world, it's going to be someone else. And so understanding strengths in each other, and that's the importance of the team building activities we do at the beginning of the lessons that you'll see on the tackle box. That really helps try to hammer home those ideas. It's a really great practice for the students to do it in a way that's not so concept heavy, so they can build that relationship and trust, not just with the instructor, but with each other before diving into an engineering concept. I don't think I told you guys that you were going to pitch it. I think I only told you that a couple days ago. Did you remember to tell them they were going to pitch it, Nina? No. Can you tell us more about your object, or did you have a spokesperson who wanted to share?
Someone wants to. Well, so on our group, we talked a lot more about kind of the individual ideas for like if I had just this, you know, what I would envision it doing, and then the bubble wrap and the bracelet and kind of the ways that we envisioned it individually. And like hearing all of, you know, the different thoughts around it, then it's easy to see, oh, well, you know, like the bracelet we were saying would be great for surface level debris, while mine was more for like scooping and getting trash that's more under the surface. So it's like, okay, cool. That's two challenges right there that we are solving. So how can we put them together? So we had kind of hit the more individual strengths and weaknesses of our items. We had not come up with a pitch, but I mean, Darth Vader is branded on mine or ours. And so it's already backed by Disney, Lucasfilms. So, I mean, I think that's all you need to know.
I can also add, my item was bubble wrap and it floats, and it's also like so common in waterways anyways that maybe we can reuse it. So we could use the wrap on the cup to keep it on the surface, and maybe the rubber bands can be used too.
Bingo.
Or the bracelet, I mean. Here we go.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right, this is awesome. So we do only have 10 minutes, and I want to dedicate a little bit more time to reflect as a group, but also to help show you a little behind the scenes where everything lives on the NESS page, so you can access this and more. And so Meg, do you mind to stop sharing, and I can go back to our Google Slides? Thank you. How's that? Can I see a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Nice. So for us, right, when we're promoting social emotional learning, we're looking for confidence building, perseverance, teamwork, leadership skills that are being used and in practice. And so we did this secretly, but also not so secretly because you're adults and I'm trying to share the best practices with you today, right? And so thinking back to that slide with Meg, confidence, communication, teamwork, perseverance, self-control, and leadership. Is there any kind of specific example that you could pull from our two micro activities that you could see this being promoted for social emotional growth and what action we did, how we helped facilitate that growth today. And you can just unmute yourself and speak freely. I have a mouse here so I can move and identify as you go. And I can get us started too to get the juices flowing. I think I said pretty quickly with the concept map, by identifying the connections that each of you guys did, helps promote confidence with students that, oh, I have the answers, or oh, I know the questions to ask, and I have the creativity to share with the group to be able to continue to investigate today in the science lesson. And so we can help promote confidence just by validating what's shared, right? Even if it's tough to connect, we can find a way.
I can go too.
Go for it.
So just the engineering activity, we were talking in the breakout room, you know, how we design programs so that it's really the kids leading the way. It's not us giving instructions. It's not us giving like a pre-built kit or something like that. They are the ones that are driving how they want it to go. And that alone is perseverance of like, because I feel like we're so in traditional kind of education, it is so like, okay, here's the notes, yep, write it down, yep, like it's so structured that even just getting past that mindset is perseverance. And then the next step is, okay, now let me think creatively, let me work as a team. But you're kind of like, wait, but that's all you're telling us? What? Like this is all we get? And you're like, yeah. So that's definitely, you know, takes a learning curve to get there.
Yeah. Do you think that if this was done in person and the students ended up building and testing to collect debris, it could help promote teamwork, communication, self-control, or leadership in any way? If we're to take it outside of the virtual realm?
I definitely see the teamwork aspect. I mean, it's easy to imagine that kind of in the real world, right? Like everybody is adding their piece to it. But that was apparent too when you were, sorry, I want to call you Atlantic. I don't know your real name.
Hannah, it's okay.
Hannah, yes, okay. When Hannah, when you were leading the group and you kept kind of teasing out from different people what their views were and their thoughts, we felt like we were all working together towards the same goal and that no one voice was kind of more important. So I thought that was great.
Thanks. Yeah, I think when you guys look at these lessons, the way we wrote it really helps promote these kind of naturally. And it's up to you and how you talk to your students and engage with them. That can really bring it home, right? And so self-control, that can be a challenging one to have to write in a lesson plan, but that's also setting boundaries and providing opportunities for students to speak up for themselves. Like, I was like, which roles do you want? And I had two people speak up and they were like, I immediately don't want this one. But that's kind of an example. They know if they were given it, they're a little challenged and they might not be their best selves. And so that kind of helps promote that too. And so it's time to dive into.
Well, I just have one thing to add. I'm so sorry. So one of the other things that I saw in the very quick joining of the breakout rooms was perseverance. So Liz specifically, it was like I planted you. You know, she's like, oh, I'm not an engineer. I'm not great at this. And I'm like, but you are. Like, engineering is natural to everything that we do. And you didn't just give up and say, oh, okay, well, no, I still am horrible at this. You persevere. And so it's up to the educator to help with that, to communicate to students that there is no failure here. It's all about persevering and coming up with a silly product. Yes, but it still met the goal. So I saw perseverance.
That's awesome. Thanks, Meg. I think perseverance is really identified as a strong component that any engineering activities we make, that's a big one, because anytime you make another iteration of it, they have to overcome a challenge they had in the first one. And the one that's emotional as an individual too, not just a team. So building off that, I'm going to share my screen one more time. All right, do you see a NOAA B-WET webpage? Thank you for confirming every time. Okay, so this is likely how you may have seen us. If not, that's okay. This is linked in almost every format that I've reached out to you in, or Nina or Meg have. And so our B-WET page for partnerships includes anything that is upcoming, as well as things that have been released in the past. So we have a lot of workshops that these are recordings to the virtual events, but also links to the NOAA side of things. So you can yourself access the MUI framework. It's a really, really great opportunity to fuse some of their best practices in with how you teach. But if you want to learn more about how we teach experientially, it's written in all of these lesson plans. And so today you guys got to see how we would just do a little quick tasting of an engineering design process. But a lot of these, you have students doing some role playing, you have students investigating through using experiments, you have students, we have gamified things to help engage them in different ways. We have added journaling, we've added diagramming, a lot to incorporate not only the doing, but also the reflection at the end. No matter what we do, students or adults, we always want to reflect on how it went. That's where you start to grow the most, right? Is to understand why we're doing this and how we're going to move forward and what we liked and what we didn't like and how we want to grow. And so all of that, I know that's my very vague overall pitch, but that's all written in many different ways in all these lesson plans. So if you click on these links, it brings you right to a PDF. And so just like you saw at the beginning, here are all your standards and your essential questions, your learning objectives, and then it jumps into some background information, your materials list, and then what you're doing. And so we keep it student focused by always having our verb bolded over here and a whole separate column where you can identify what that student is actually doing. So if you want to get a more detailed overview of what they're up to besides the first couple of pages, you can scroll and see pretty quickly that, oh, this is an introduction. Oh, this is where they're building some models, etc. We have released 6 of these so far. We have density dynamics, so that's understanding changes in salinity and how that impacts the ecosystems around it. So we put that with a perspective on estuaries last year. And it builds well into our ecological field monitoring. So we do some water quality there and some animal monitoring. We've included glaciers for our New England friends. Marine debris, you got a tiny taste of that today. Watersheds and weather and climate. There will be 3 new ones released this year: waves, climate change, and marine mammals. Okay, each of these, along with the lesson, has supporting materials dependent on the year. Some have video recordings of when it was released on the training. And when you click, it takes you right there. You can see all of our faces from 3 years ago or 2 years ago now. But some of them, all of them also have a Amazon materials list. So if you need to purchase anything, you can see what we would recommend right off the bat to try to make it a little easier for you. And they also have supporting videos. Let's find them. We'll send a link out. We just had our website updated, and so I don't see it right. Oh, right here, lesson demo, right in front of me, where we have our guest speaker, Striper, Mr. James Harrington, come in and provide some background on setup or mini activities that you can also do with your students. So there's a lot to unpack here. There's also updates on what we're doing in schools as well as what's coming up. And so I encourage you to use it as much as you can, share it. Some of them are on NOAA Sea2Sky. NOAA Sea2Sky is still updating, and so I'm still waiting on it. They're a couple months behind, but we will all be up there very soon. And I cannot wait to release the 3 this year that Lisa, Nina, Gary, and myself have worked really hard on. The ones that you will get trainings on moving forward is the climate change lesson and an actual hands-on use of the marsh, the ecological field monitoring. So if you choose to come in person, we'll be here at NESS. We'll do some activities together, and then we will meet out there in the marsh, getting muddy, ready to collect and share some best practices of how we do some in the field programming. And so I know I'm over the hour. I appreciate you bearing with us with our technology, like our tech challenges today. The other 2 speaker series that we have coming up will feature guests from around New England. Let me share this with you one last time. And if you have any questions, you should know that you should feel free to please reach out and let me know how I can help support you. And so, do you see my PowerPoint? Nice. I have so many tabs open. We have Val Perini speaking with the trustees on April 17th. We're all getting our spring break off. Don't even think about it. Please relax if you're in Connecticut. Take some time to yourself. Okay. And then April 24th will also be with Maggie Cousins. She's with Connecticut Sea Grant and the Long Island Sounds study. And then we have our in-person. And so this is just an opportunity to get to see each other, share some resources, and get to empowering students to want to be outside and learn more and feel confident in their watershed. I'll stay on. If you guys have any questions, please toss them out. We can do an open floor at the end, but otherwise, thank you so much for coming tonight. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And